Hey, today I'm here to tell you how to paint a picture. To start off, you want to think about what are you trying to create with your picture, with your artwork. And then once you decide on a design plan, you're going to move on to the materials you're going to need to complete your work. Are you going to use paintbrushes? Are you going to use sponges, airbrush, stencils, etc.? There's lots of different options to use. If you use paintbrushes, they're the most common things that you can use. You can use them for almost any type of artwork or painting piece. If you do airbrush, it kind of creates like a seamless finish without any streaks or anything. Or if you decide to use a stencil, it kind of helps you create the perfect outline of your work. And then after you decide that, you're going to move on to choosing your medium for your artwork. And what I mean by that is, what are you going to use to paint with? If you're going to use paint itself, what kind of paint? Are you going to use tempera paint, acrylic, oil, watercolor, spray paint? You can do pencil, you can do pastels, you can paint in even ink. And each medium, it has different properties to it. Acrylic is kind of like the most common, used in schools and regular painting, fast drawing. Oil is kind of like an intermediate level for painters. It's harder to use, mainly for blending, and it takes a while to dry. But if you decide to do spray paint or airbrush or something cool like that, it's different and it's fun and it's fast drying and it blends really well. Okay, and then after you decide on your medium, you're going to decide on your surface. What are you going to paint on? Most people do paper or a canvas, but there's lots of different options. You can paint on poster boards, metals, ceramics, glass, walls, canvases. You can pretty much paint anything on those. Paper, it's kind of best for acrylic or watercolor. Paper is specifically for watercolor. And then ceramics are really fun to paint. It's something that you have to get a special paint for and glaze it. So you just need the right materials if you're going to do that. And then after you decide on what you're going to paint on, you're going to start looking at what kind of techniques can you use to make your painting stand out. There's lots of different things that you can do. Blending is a very easy and fun thing to do. You can blend two colors together, like very common. Primary colors, blue and red make purple. You know, green and yellow make orange. And I have an example right here of blending. It's an all black and white photo except for the red pop. But right here I had to blend all of the gray and different shades of gray to make it stand out. So that's one example of blending. And then the next thing that you could do is smudging, which it's really easy to do. You just kind of dab and smudge the paint as it's still wet to make it into a shape or design as you choose. And here's an example of that one. This is also an example of stippling and paint flinging. So see, what you do with the smudging is you just dab around the areas that you want to look more frayed or different, and then it gives it a nice textured look. And then stippling, you just kind of throw or dab tiny dots to make an effect. And then another blending technique right here is when I blend the darker blue and then I transcend it into the lighter blue like a rainbow for a background effect. It's just lots of different examples right there. And then to wrap up as a conclusion, I want to say that to paint a picture and to do it well, you should decide on your design plan beforehand. And then you're going to choose your materials that you're going to want to use. Get that ready and laid out and ready to go before you start. And then you're going to choose your mediums. What kind of paint are you going to use? Get that ready to go and the proper clothing to wear with it. Because some paints, like oils and spray paint, like it's permanent on clothes. You don't want to get that on you. And then to wrap it up, you do your finishing touches on your paintings. Use stencils if you need to, clean edges. and you can use your techniques that I showed you, or you could look up, there's lots of different techniques that you can use to make your art pieces stand out. And then after you give it a nice final look, you sign it on the bottom right corner. Well, that's where I sign it. And then you're good to go. And that is how you paint a picture. Thanks.